was thinking what would be a good story time to tell you guys, and the one that came to my mind was how I found out that I was sick, as you can tell by the title, with gastroparesis. Not only is this a story time, but it's also a testimony of mine. So, I'm not gonna force my beliefs on anybody, but if you're a believer, this is some. If you're not a believer, just hearing this story should give you some sort of belief of a higher power. But anyway, I didn't write anything down per usual. I'm always thinking of things that I need to remember to say, and I don't take the time to stop what I'm doing and jot things down. So yeah, I'm gonna get straight into the story. I'm gonna try to remember everything for detail to detail. Some stuff I might just leave out for the sake of this video being extremely long. So yeah, get ready to relax. I'm gonna take this off, y'all. Yes, get ready to relax and enjoy this story time. So I might have the dates wrong, the years wrong, because I did throw away my paperwork that I had. I'm sorry, guys. Like, my mic is going in different ears, like rotate. But anyway, so I did have my paperwork for when I was going to the doctor and stuff. But my husband talked me into throwing it away because he was like, "Why do you want those bad memories?" But times like this, where you want to tell the story and you need those paperwork to give the accurate timeline. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. So it was 2017. I feel like I need it back on, but anyway, it was 2017, and my husband was working second shift, and I was working at Walmart. And when I used to get off work, I would always cook dinner for me and my family. I would cook dinner for the kids. I would cook a dinner for everyone, but the kids would go ahead and eat, and I would get them ready for bed. And I would fix me and my husband plate and just set it to the side till my husband would get off work. Yes, it sounds crazy, but I would wait on my husband to get off work so that we could eat together and watch our favorite shows. We used to love all the little reality shows, and we had some other TV shows that we liked, and that was our thing. Like, when he got off work, we would eat, watch our shows, talk about our day, and things like that. So one in particular day, I had fixed our plates, and when he got off work, we ate like normal. And while we watching the show, once I got done eating, I felt this urge to burp. Like, if you've ever drank like a soda or something, and you feel that gas building up, and you feel that burp just sitting right there in your throat, and you know that it's coming. That's the feeling I had. I felt like I needed to burp, but it wasn't coming out. And I hope this makes sense, because when I was explaining it to other people, they wouldn't understand what I was saying. So imagine you needing to burp, but the burp is just sitting in your throat. It's just sitting there. So I was like, dang, I feel like I need to burp, but it ain't coming up. But I didn't think anything of it, because I'm pretty sure everybody in life didn't have to burp before, and it doesn't come up right away. You kind of, like, whatever. So I'm like, dang, it's not coming up. So I start patting my chest, like, how you do a baby on the back when you're burping them. I start patting my chest a little bit, because I'm like, dang, I don't know why this burp won't come in. I hadn't been drinking any soda or anything. So eventually the burp came out after a couple of minutes of me patting my chest. I was like, okay, that was weird, but whatever. So the next day it happened, but I never put two and two together. I was just thinking, like, I've been really gassy. I don't know why, this burp hasn't been coming out. So day 3 of me and my husband doing our same routine of him getting off work and us eating, I felt like I needed to either throw up or burp. I'm sorry, I hope I can say that. I would either need to vomit or burp, one of the two, and I couldn't figure out like what was going on. So I got up and I started walking around the room, like patting my chest, walking around the room, because if you don't know anything about me, I have a phobia of throwing up or vomiting. I have a bad phobia of that, and I don't know why, but I always think like some and that Golden Corral was not, it wasn't a good Golden Corral. And me and my husband were like, no, we don't want to eat here. So we told the kids, come on, let's go. And they were so upset and they wanted to eat at Golden Corral. So me and my husband decided, okay, they can eat at Golden Corral. We'll just pick up something for ourselves on the way home. So, hold on, y'all. So we ended up, I'm sorry, I hope y'all can hear me because it was sounding a little weird when I took this off. But anyway, so we decided we would pick up something on the way home. After the kids ate at Golden Corral, we just sat and let them eat and we went home. On the way home, we stopped at Dairy Queen. And I never forget it, me and my husband both got us like some chicken strip and fries. So when I got home, I ate the chicken strip and fries, and again, like I needed to burp or throw up, but it wasn't coming. It's just sat there in my throat, just sitting there. So eventually I'm just like, something's not right. Like, why does this keep on happening to me? And if you'll notice, it's a pattern, but I'll tell you about it later. So I'm just like, what is going on with me? So I'm just like, this isn't right. So like I said, my daughter's birthday is the day before. It's usually the day before Mother's Day. So the next day, me, my husband, and his friend and his girlfriend decided to go to Chili's. At that point, I'm scared to eat. Like, I'm like, I can't eat because I know this is going to happen again. So everybody's at the table enjoying themselves, laughing, talking, eating. And that's when my anxiety very first started to come up. I didn't realize it was anxiety, but it was because everybody was at the table laughing and talking. My husband and his friend had got these big old burgers that had meat, hamburger meat, and pork meat on it, and they were just joking around about how big it was and who was going to be able to eat all of it. And I'm just sitting there like, I can't eat because I've experienced that feeling multiple times at home, but I hadn't experienced it out in public yet. So I'm just like, if I get the feeling like this and I'm out in public, like, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, am I going to really throw up, or, you know, that's going to look crazy. I'm over here patting my chest in front of everybody in public. So I was kind of like barely eating my food. And I had told my husband, I was like, because I think it was Sunday, Mother's Day was on Sunday, and I was like, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow because something isn't right. So on Monday, I'm sorry y'all, speaking of now, I feel like I need to burp, but so yeah, I end up going to the doctor, to my primary care doctor, and I explained to him what was going on, and he was like, okay, here's some medicine, this ought to help you. And I'm like, okay, it's that simple. Like, he's not worried, he just gave me some medicine, so it must be something simple, a quick fix, right? So I go home and I take that medicine for a couple of days, and every time I try to eat, I just feel bloated and like I can't burp or I need to throw up. Like, it's just an unexplainable feeling. Like, every day I was feeling it. So I went back to the doctor and I told him, I was like, this isn't working. I still feel horrible. Like, I still feel like I need to burp or throw up. I feel bloated and extremely full. Like, something isn't right with me. And he was like, okay, so I'm gonna get you a referral to a GI doctor. So I was like, okay. So I stay in this small town, and it's a large town. It's a large city this way, and then it's a large city this way. And the large city that's this way is known for having great doctors, but for some reason, my primary care doctor got me a doctor over in that small town. That small city that way. If that makes sense, that's the best way I can explain it. So I ended up going to the doctor, and it was a lady, a woman doctor. I explained what was going on. She said she was going to run some tests. She did some tests where they like put me to sleep, and they went down and they checked some things out and things like that. And she ended up telling me that they were going to do a empty, it's like where you eat food. They had me eat some food that had certain stuff in it that could see how my food was digesting. And so every hour I would sit in the waiting room. I had to sit there for I was at the doctor for like 4 hours. After I ate the eggs, every hour I would have to go back, and they would take a x-ray of my stomach that wasn't the case. So they gave me the medicine, and the medicine worked for about 3 weeks. I was able to eat like normal again. I was so happy. I felt like my prayers had been answered. So after about 2 weeks, I noticed that I started having that feeling again. And I'm like, what is going on? So, my doctor's appointment wasn't for another 3 months. So I had to struggle through. And when I went to the doctor's appointment, I told him, I was like, it's not working anymore. So they upped the dosage. I took that medicine about 2 months. For like 2 weeks, it worked. After that 2 weeks, it stopped working again. So when I went to my next doctor's appointment, I ended up telling him, I'm like, the medicine isn't working anymore. Like, I was good for 2 weeks, and now I'm struggling again. I feel bad. I feel horrible. So they was like, oh, okay, well, just continue to take the medicine, and gastroparesis usually goes away after some time. They couldn't tell me why it happened, and they just said, just keep taking that medicine and eventually it'll go away. So I'm just like, wait. So at this point, I'm just going to the doctor every 3 months, and they're not doing anything about it. They're just basically using my insurance to get paid, but they're not doing anything for me. When I first got gastroparesis, I weighed 886 pounds. When it all said and done, I was weighing 820 pounds. You could see my ribs. You could see my ribs. You could see my hip bones. Like, my face had got real. Like, right now, my face is chubby. And my neck, you got neck rolls. No, my face was really slim. And, like, I'm going to insert a picture, matter of fact, of how skinny I had gotten. It's heartbreaking when I look at it. But anyway, so I was going to the doctor. And I basically wasn't eating anymore as much. Like, I basically would eat, like, on a normal day, I would eat, like, 3 French toast sticks and a little bit of eggs. And that would be all I ate all day until the next day. And then the next day, another 3 French toast sticks and eggs. Because it's like all that my body could tolerate is a small, small portion of food. And the woman was just telling me at the doctor, she was like, it'll get better and just eat smaller portions. Just eat smaller portions. She was telling me keep eating small portions throughout the day, but it wasn't working. And what I had realized is I can eat one meal, because that's the first meal. But later on that night, if I try to eat a meal, that's when I would feel bad. I guess because the first meal I ate was still in my stomach and hadn't digested yet. And I was putting more food on top of the food that I ate that morning. So that's why when me and my husband would eat at night, I would start to feel bad, because I'm thinking that it's just a little gas. But in reality, it was that food that I ate that morning was still sitting in there. And I was trying to eat that night and putting food on top of that food that hadn't even digested yet. So that's why I was feeling so bad and bloated and uncomfortable. So I had got down to 120 pounds, like I said. The lady doctor that was in the doctor's office in the city over there, she quit. She wasn't working anymore, so they gave me a man. And he didn't give me any advice. He would just say, oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to see what else we can do. That's what he would say every time. Every time I would leave the doctor's office and get in the car, I would be crying. I would be in tears. And my husband would just shake his head because it was nothing he could do. But I could tell he felt so bad for me. He was there every step of the way. I can never take that from him. He took me to every doctor's appointment. Every time they had to do a testing and they put me to sleep, he was there every step of the way. So one day, my anxiety was getting worse and worse, because I was eating less and less, and I was losing so much weight. And one day I got home off of work, because if you've ever went without eating all day, you get kind of shaky and you be like feeling kind of weak. Well, that's how I felt every day. Every day I felt weak. I was starting to miss work a lot, and when I did go to work, I was just feeling so bad, so drained, so miserable. Like, I was barely there. I had got down to an extra small in clothes. It was just bad. So one day I came home from work and my husband was still at work, and I was just like, God, I can't take it anymore. Like, depending on like when I'm starting my day at work, I'll thank God and ask God to help me throughout the day. But this particular day, something just told me get on my knees and pray. I got on the side of my bed and I got on my knees and I just prayed to God and I asked God to help me, because at this point I didn't know what else to do. The doctor I was going to was not helping me. I was losing so much weight, and the doctor was also talking about a feeding tube. The doctor from that city was talking about a feeding tube, and then I was talking to my friend. She works like in the medical field, and I was telling her, well, I guess I'm gonna have to be on a feeding tube because I can't take this anymore. And she was like, no, don't give up because you don't want to be in a feeding tube. That's a foreign object in your body, and it's gonna cause you so much complications and discomfort. But at that point, I didn't know what else to do. I was just like, do whatever you need to do because I'm in pain. Sometimes I would eat like 4 chicken nuggets and I would feel bloated and uncomfortable, like I had to throw up for 8 to 9 hours straight. I would feel like that for 8 or 9 hours. That's a whole work shift. I would feel like that all day long, and I still had to go to work. So one day I went back to my primary care doctor and I was telling him, I said, look, I need something to help me with my anxiety. I said, I'm struggling. I'm going to this doctor that you referred me to for this gastroparesis, and they're not helping me anymore. I don't know what else to do. I had 2 insurances at the time. I was on my husband's insurance at work, and then I had a different insurance that I've had for a long time. So the doctor, my primary care doctor, told me, he said, I'm going to find you a different doctor. He said, I'm going to give you a call. I'm going to get my nurse to give you a call this evening and see what we find. So later on that evening, the nurse called me and she said, we're trying to find you a doctor, but nobody won't take your insurance. Do you have any other insurance? And I said, yeah, I have 2 insurances. And I told her about the insurance on my husband's job that I have. She said, okay, I'm going to let the doctor know and we'll get back to you. Within about 30 minutes, she called me back and she said, we have you a new doctor from that city. She said, we have you a new doctor. This is the day of the appointment. This is the place and all of that. I wrote everything down. I was just like, oh my God, I hope he or she can help me. So I went to that doctor's appointment and I explained to the doctor everything that was going on with me and everything that I had been through. And he was like, okay, so you already went through the eating thing. And I was like, yeah. He said, I want you to do that again. I want you to go through the eating the eggs and they take the x-rays. I want to see where you are now. How bad is it now? And then he said, I also want to go, I think it's called an endoscope or something, where they take the camera and they look down. We're going to put you to sleep. So I end up doing the eating study. That's what it's called, eating study. And he got those results back and he said, well, it is moving slow, but it does look like it's mild to moderate. I was like, I cannot understand why it's mild to moderate when it feels severe. But, so, he ended up getting me to go to the doctor, come in to have the endoscope done. And I remember the lady saying, she was like, okay, you know you weren't supposed to eat after 12. When is the last time you ate? And I said, I haven't ate since yesterday at 11 a.m. She said, yesterday morning? I said, yes. She said, wow, how do you go that long without eating? I said, I can't eat. That's why I'm here. She said, oh, I feel so bad for you. So the doctor ended up, they did the study. They put me to sleep. They did the study, and I'll never forget. When they got done, they put me in the recovery room, and the doctor came in. First, the nurse came in and, was letting me know that I made it out, and then was trying to make sure I was okay. And once she made sure I was okay, the doctor came in and he was like, I went to this class and I told them about what you're going through, and they gave me a medicine that they believe will help you. He said, I want you to give it a try and let's see if it works. At this point, I had tried so much because, like I said, I didn't give every detail, but there's some different stuff I tried in between time that didn't work. So I was just like, okay, but in my mind, I'm like, here's another medicine I'm just putting in my body that's not gonna work. So when we left or whatever, I was telling my husband about the medicine, and I ended up getting the prescription, and I was like, I'm a Google crazy person. I'm always Googling, and I seen that it was an antidepressant. So when I seen that, So because the doctor over here was talking about a feeding tube also, he was telling me like if I lost any more weight, he was gonna have to put me on a feeding tube. So my mom and my husband are telling me to try it. So I called the doctor and I spoke with the nurse and I said, can you ask the doctor, is he sure that he wants me to take this? Because I see this an antidepressant and I don't want anything that's gonna affect me in the long run if I try to stop taking it. She said, I'm gonna talk to the doctor and I'm gonna see what he says. Like an hour went by and the doctor called me himself. Y'all, when I tell you, I've never had a doctor more caring than him. He was so caring and so compassionate. He called me and I was like thinking to myself, I didn't know doctors call patients. I thought that's what the nurse was for. He said, look, this medicine, I believe is going to help you. He said, multiple medicines are used for multiple things. He said, but it's not going to harm you. He said, go ahead and give it a try and see if it works. I believe it's going to help you. After he called me, I took a time to think about it and I said, well, you know what? At this point, I got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I ended up go ahead and trying the medicine. They told me take it at night because it'll make you drowsy. So I would take it at night and wouldn't think no more about it because in my mind it wasn't gonna work. So one day I got up and I went to work. I ate my normal and then I went to work. And I remember like, dang, I'm hungry. Because that was one of the side effects. It makes you really hungry and it helps you eat. And I was like, dang, I'm really hungry. But I never thought nothing about it. So beside my job, there was a Subway. So I always loved sweets. So I went over there and got me 3 chocolate chip cookies. And the way that I would eat is I would eat a little bit and see how I'm going to feel. And if I felt bad, then I know not to eat anymore. If I felt okay in about 30 minutes, then I would eat a little bit more. So I ate one cookie and I was okay. So I ate another cookie and I was okay. Next thing I know, I ate the 3rd cookie because I was so hungry. Y'all, this medicine made me so hungry that when I would get ready to take a bite, like out of a burger or something, I would be literally drooling because it would make me so hungry. It made me hungrier than when I was pregnant. So after I ate that 3rd cookie, I ended up letting out a big old burp. And I was like, that's unusual. But again, I'm not thinking about the medicine. About a day later, I'm still hungry and I'm eating and I'm noticing the little bit I am eating, nothing's bothering me. And I told my mom and my husband, I said, I think this medicine is working. I haven't felt bad in a couple of days. Fast forward, when he gave me that medicine, it was at the beginning of November. By Thanksgiving, I was eating Thanksgiving dinner with my family with no problems. Of course, I didn't go get this big old plate, but I had about a normal child size plate, about my 8-year-old daughter's size plate, which is a pretty decent size. It's not like a 4-year-old plate, but like something you would feed by an 8-year-old, which that was better because I was eating like a 4-year-old at first. But I ate Thanksgiving dinner. I was so happy, y'all. I've cried so many times when I think about how God came in and saved the day because I remained faithful. I continued to remember that he was in control. I never lost my faith. I never questioned him or was upset with him about what was going on. I just continued to pray that he bring me through this. And he brought me through it. And I will forever tell that testimony about how I almost was on a feeding tube. And God brought me out of it. So after Thanksgiving, it was early December. I went back to the doctor after he gave me that medicine. And they checked my weight. He said, I can see you done gained some weight. I said, yeah, the medicine's working for me. He said, thank you. I'm so glad it's working. He said, you had me scared for a minute. And I said, well, he said, yeah, you really had me scared when you first came in. And I couldn't do nothing again, but thank God, because for a doctor to tell you that even he was scared and didn't know what the outcome was going to be, it was nobody but God that put him in the right place to where he could find out the medicine for me. The doctors in his city over there couldn't do anything for me, but he was able to help me. And every time I go to him once a year now. And as y'all can see, that medicine blew me up along with working from home. But what was I finna say? But one thing I will say about that doctor, he is so nice. He's so sweet. Anytime I go in there, he asks me about my kids. He asks me how I'm doing, how my husband doing. And he asks me, am I still working? Do he need to change anything? He shows that he cares every single time. Like, he's not one of those doctors that's in and out. He actually comes in, sits down, talks to you, see how you feeling and everything like that before he lets you go. And then he tells me, I want to see you back in a year, but if anything happens between now and then, don't hesitate to come back, set an appointment and come back. And I'm forever grateful for him. I see him again in June coming up. I'm so grateful for him, and I'm so grateful for God. If you ever in doubt, if you ever going through something and you don't know how you gonna get through it,